This is the story of a team who was always on the run. Its nomadic roots can be traced back to Oakland, Kansas City, and before that, Philadelphia. An owner who wasn't afraid to take risks, and a city that said they loved them, but didn't exactly show it. This is the story of how at the last moment, a team that would be playing a mile above sea level, setting records only the record books could imagine, was sent back home. This is the story of how a second dynasty could have been even better than the first. This is what could have been and what sadly we will never know. Let me take you on a fantasy ride. This is the story of the Denver Athletics. From 1972 to 1974, the Oakland A's were a powerhouse, winning 3 straight World Series and sporting some of the most dazzling uniforms the game had ever seen. Everything was all good in Oaktown. The team had enormous star power, led by Reggie Jackson, Catfish Hunter, Gene Tennis, Bert Campaneris, Rollie Fingers, Vida Blue. The A's had dominant pitching and consistent hitting. In 1972, the club defeated the Big Red Machine in the World Series, but attendance-wise, finished 5 out of 12 in the American League. By 1974, the team was still a powerhouse. They won 90 games, hit 132 homers, and posted a 2.95 team ERA. Despite this, the A's finished 11 out of 12 in attendance in the American League. Owner Charlie Finley was just simply tired of losing money. In 1975, the team lost the '74 Cy Young Award winner Catfish Hunter to the Yankees, and the following year they traded '73 MVP Reggie Jackson to Baltimore. In 1976, the team finished second in the AL West, winning 87 games and missing the playoffs. Perhaps seeing this as the last hope to win it all before blowing it all up, Finley brought in Willie McCovey for 11 games and watched him hover around the Mendoza line. In 1977, the team was a shell of itself. They won 63 games and finished dead last in the American League in attendance. Finley was fed up with the city of Oakland and won it out quick. In December 1977, oil tycoon and eventual owner of 20th Century Fox and the Aspen Ski Club, Marvin Davis, offered Charlie Finley $12 million to buy the club. Davis wanted to relocate the team to Denver immediately upon purchase and begin playing in Mile High Stadium the following spring. The deal was almost a sure thing, and the pending sale and move was announced. The only problem? The city of Oakland. They countered the decision by saying the A's still had 10 years left on the lease agreement to play in the Oakland Coliseum. If Finley wanted to finalize the deal with Davis, he would need to pay the remaining balance on the lease. Finley offered an idea to have the Crosstown Giants play half of their games in Oakland to settle the lease issues. The Giants refused, and Finley eventually pulled out of the deal with Davis and kept the team in Oakland. Now let's just play along and imagine the deal with Marvin Davis did in fact go through. By spring 1978, the Denver Athletics were officially the first Major League Baseball team in the city of Denver. Marvin Davis's wealth was ballooning, and getting players would be no issue now. Teams would soon learn that the ball carried a little farther now, and stats would be obese. By 1979, fresh-faced speedster Rickey Henderson would make his debut for the Denver A's. In 1982, the team drafted Jose Canseco, and in 1984, the club would draft fellow Bash brother Mark McGwire. By 1985, Walt Weiss would be added to the team through the draft as well. and a once dead franchise was now on its way. 1986 free agent and future Hall of Famer Tim Raines was available too. The now rich A's led by Davis would end up signing Raines. By 1988, the team full of superstars including Dave Stewart, Dennis Eckersley, the Bash Brothers, Henderson, Raines, Weiss, and Dave Henderson would go on to win 104 games. Now playing in Mile High Stadium, one would assume this squad would break tons of offensive records. Instead of losing to the Dodgers in the '88 series, this team would go on to win. The same would be said for 1989, and in 1990, the Denver A's would go on to win their third straight World Series. In 1995, Coors Field would open, and by 1997, Mark McGwire would be paid to stay in Denver, as with Jose Canseco. In '98, Canseco would hit 46 homers and McGwire 70, breaking the all-time single-season record. Rickey Henderson would also be inked to a long-term deal and never leave the A's as well, going on to break the all-time stolen base record and runs scored record. You can figure with a team this talent-laden, the Denver A's would have probably won a few more titles in the 1990s and possibly disrupted the Yankees dynasty. We will never know what the Denver A's would have turned out to be and how they would have changed baseball forever. Moneyball would have probably never happened, and perhaps Canseco would have never snitched. This is the story of what could have been, but what we will never know.